look, we're a little bit behind schedule. And I'm not going to blame that on Fiji time, although there's been a series. I'm going to say I'm going to blame that on some Fiji magic. Something. There were signs everywhere, which, if you read my post in our latest lives of our days, I wrote there that, we heard, we listened to the signs we were getting from the universe. And I've spelt universe, my darling, because you haven't read the caption yet. I've spelt it a certain way, and I've spelt it Y-O-U. Where are these things? I'm sorry, while I just search for my words. It's sometimes the universe asserts itself and stops you in your tracks. For us, literally. I mean, literally, what happened today. So we had to just really understand that that's what's happening, and then we didn't go to where we were going to go. So anyway, that's us from this morning's live, which is now called The Daily Egg, formerly The Breakfast Show. But The Daily Egg, full of news and nutrients. Something like that. News, views, and nutrients. So that's The Daily Egg. But this was, so I wanted to just take you back to this. Excuse the camera work here, because I've got very used to Duane, actually. His camera work is incredible. So I'm trying, the problem is I can't change. So I was photographing, so we thought, okay, we might as well listen to the universe, and constantly getting stopped. And if you've watched the live, then you will know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the glare out. So I saw all these really cool, gorgeous people. And when Duane and I were walking along, I said, "Can I please let me photograph you?" And it's, I keep saying, well, I'm sorry, please don't think I'm a weirdo. Like, haha, we get it. They're all just so cool. Look at these cool, oops, sorry, can't get too close. But these photographs accompanying our lives are all on our Facebook page, The Lives of Our Days. Please do visit the page. You can find the link via my link tree in my bio. So these people have got their full permission. I always ask. So this is a cafe in this area, which I'm quite disappointed by, frankly. Anyway. So yes, this is just the back of my Sony. The photographs I took whilst my darling and I walked along. And I stopped all these people, and they were flattered and thought, well, they didn't look too stylish. I thought, no, every single one says, well, we didn't look too stylish. I thought, well, we think you do. You're just drip cool. Oh God, speaking of drip cool, this man, that's my husband. He's so not a show pony, but he will stand and stand, and pose for me. And I just really deeply appreciate that, without complaint, without wanting to be a star. I deeply appreciate that. Anyway, we are supposed to be talking about Batman Day, so I'm going to quickly just show you these fantastic people I photographed and who very kindly posed for us. And we do protect everyone's privacy, really, so we don't film them without their, if you've watched Duane's film work, it's so beautiful. But we do ask for permission to photograph and then live. So, look at these cool people. They were just so cool. Everyone was so cool. And then I show them their photos and say, so do you mind if I publish them? And they're like, yep. So we didn't get to the Papua New Guinean Independence Day celebrations, much to our, puzzlement. But we took it in our stride. So it wasn't really puzzlement. It was just like, well, here's the universe giving clear signs. Don't force this. And darling, you know what? Oh, sorry, because we are supposed to continue Batman Day, but let me just quickly take you through the rest of these photos. Oh, look, it's me in that gorgeous, gorgeous duk-duk dress, it's called, because of that wonderful motif there. Oh, I can't get too close, but you'll see these photographs in the album on the Lives of Our Days page. This is by Drew Douglas of Lumai. Lumai is the label that Drew designs under. Lumai is his mother's indigenous name. And this dress Duk Duk is called such because of that motif that you can see just a little bit. Look, isn't this lovely? Look, there it is. Sorry, that's sun in my face. Sorry about that. Sun in my face here. It was very glorious today, wasn't it? Oh, God. So anyway, isn't that a gorgeous dress? And I styled it on Sigrid differently. I styled it on her for the editorial. I styled it very vintage. And because, Sigrid's got a long torso, it looks good on her, but I need to belt it in, otherwise, yeah. But, yeah, that's great. So one of these is the cover of the current. So we're supposed to be doing Batman Day. I looked at the sky, asked what are we doing, and I said, well, I'm photographing, and then, he's got some style happening. Oh, God, there are a lot of stylish people on the street. And I thought, well, may I photograph you? And he said, yeah, okay. And I don't know, but then I showed him the photographs, and he went, wow. And he was really, really chuffed, so I gave him one of our covers with a QR code that goes straight to the site, and there you go. He was very happy. Oh, I do love these photographs, darling. Thank you. This is this fantastic dress by Drew Douglas, and if you've watched the video, then you'll see here's my beautiful husband. I explained that the belt I was wearing with this dress is by Tanya Whiteside from the 91-92 collection, a campaign of which I was a face. Now, this is my husband wearing a VT's t-shirt and carrying a balloon from Project 2 Mile. Duane is divinely beautiful. Yeah. I'm sorry if you can hear that. That might be my stomach. Gosh, I hope my mic is on. I don't know. Yeah, so these are the photographs. These are the lives of our days. These are the things that happen. So these are the things I see on our walks or wherever we're going. People going about life in very interesting ways. I love the sights of this world. Look how beautiful. This is just the back of my camera. Look how wonderful all these Vespers, which are such an Italian thing. They're now used by multicultural, in particular people from Southeast Asia, as their vehicles to transport food around to people. So these cool little holiday Vespers, Italian scooter type things. And it's so multicultural. I love it. I absolutely love. Look at this. It's fantastic. So if you've watched the today's episodes of The Lives of Our Days, then you know what we're talking about. Oh, see, this is just on the side of someone's scooter. It's just fantastic, the sights and sounds. But we really must start with Batman Day, because what we're doing is we want to talk about our love of Batman, and I want to talk about a few other things. So I'm sorry about this noise, but look at these cool people everywhere. Look. I mean, what? Who is this? And there are sights and sounds, and there are cooler people here. And look, you've got to watch the video. Really, but it's just stunning, because all of these are the photographs to accompany the video. So please do have a look. All right. And okay, great. Let's now we must talk about other things. Now we must start Batman Day. Good evening or good afternoon still, because we are going to still have Batman movie night. But I'm sorry if I've done this abrupt change. I forget to warn you that if I do start things in portrait mode, they will always eventually get to landscape, except for one of the last ones I did, because that's what we need to do to download. And then I'm going to start with things. I'm going to first grab my cup of tea, my ginger tea. And I'm going to take you over to where my husband is seated. He's been doing some things, because today is also Batman Day, and we both are big fans of Batman. So we want to talk about our love of Batman and a few other things like this. Duane is a trained illustrator and animator, and many of you who have followed our accounts or my account for a while, you will see many of the beautiful, beautiful artworks that Duane has done, and I have been so privileged as his wife, partner, best friend to have been his muse for so many. Like, if I may quickly show you um, this beautiful watercolor, which is astounding, absolutely astounding. I'm so much in awe of this beautiful watercolor my husband painted with me as his muse. It's not beautiful because it's of me. It's beautiful for what it is, the artwork. I do love it. Now we must come back here. And I also very, very much love watching Duane sketch. So because today is Batman Day, hello, darling. And we've got, yes, that's fine. Please let. But I'm going to just. Now look, I've actually said something. I've shared some wrong facts. Well, facts are never wrong, so wrong information. This morning, I said that the reason why Batman Day is September 16th is because this is when it was released as Detective Comic back in 1939. That's not true. It was actually released on March 30th, 1939. However, what they did was change the date to coincide with San Diego Comic Con back when it started or something like that. So Batman Day became the day of Comic Con as well. So the first Comic Con or something like that. But anyway, so we're going to talk about styles of drawing because we will talk about this. So this is a very a brutal bat.
Yeah, so it's kind of based on Frank Miller's style.
Well, not based on it, but that influences your not your style, but how you visualize Batman. Sure. Whereas, okay, I'll explain why. Whereas I think Batman's a ninja. Okay, so therefore he's more like Duane. Duane is muscular and lean and lanky.
So I just wanted to show you this. This is how I used to draw Batman before, like all the time.
Right.
You know, this is, but but you're right. You've told me your take on what the Batman should look like, and that's quite interesting, and I agree. So I mean, this is something I did a long time ago.
Whoa.
So I was just,
That's a bit gothic, which, you know, that's why it's called Gotham, because Bruce Wayne's world, Batman's world is very like shadows and angst. It's like, for fuck's sake, Bruce. But we both love Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I love the character so much, and it's taken on a life of its own. So, darling, I'm going to turn this around, and I think I'd like to turn it around to this way, please, so that we can sit down and both talk. So, do you mind? Or do you need the light on you that way?
Well, it's actually for the camera.
Yeah, but I'd prefer you to face the camera here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'd like the light over here, so I don't really know why you're sitting over there, because I would have preferred to... Yes, please. Sorry about the maintenance. We probably should learn to turn this... Hang on. Ha-ha! Look, I found the buttons. So now, look, think this is an ad break. My apologies, but we're just doing some back-of-house maintenance here. We're just rearranging the set. There is no set. There is just our place, which is now we're in Studio A right now. So I think we're ready to. Okay, we will resume normal broadcast in 5, 4, 3, 2. That's my foot. And that's my face. And I don't do foot and mouth. Anyway, so that, darling, this is...
What is that, a yoga pose? What is that?
Foot and mouth?
Yeah.
Isn't that some sort of saying, idiom about if you make a vocal or verbal faux pas and it's like you pick foot and mouth disease? I'm like, yeah, something like that. But no, and then, yoga position. And look, we're not doing yoga. We're discussing Batman and talking a bit about a few things about the societal mirror and reflection, all these characters. I hope I'm not brushing against my microphone, so apologies. We can't hear ourselves. We're working with really basic, simple things, you know. Okay, just lapel. But I love our lapel mics that they managed to actually keep what we're saying.
But it was good. Someone said they couldn't hear.
Yes.
But so thank you. Let us know if you can't hear.
Please, if you can't hear, do let us know. Even though I have said, look, I don't read your comments because I don't look at who's here. But when I do see that a comment has, because I can read with my periphery, and I have explained this before, that my demon father has given me many skills. And one of them was he taught me how to speed read, because he liked having a brilliant daughter, and a daughter who actually inherited some of his characteristics, except I inherited my mother's strength and love. Anyway, and beauty. Oh, whoa, wow. Not that I'm saying I'm beautiful. I didn't say that. I'm just saying her beauty of presence. My mother was just a beautiful human being. Anyway.
Yep.
So, excuse me, I'm coughing a bit. But, so with Bruce, yes, so he chose to not live that life, but he also couldn't then go and manage the business. He had to show that he was having just a grand old playboy life because he had to have a little bit of a sleep, but he didn't. Like, really, when does Bruce sleep? And he uses his privilege to give him the means and capacity and platforms to help others, you know. And really, Batman, because no one knows that Bruce is Batman, I always love it. Like, I cry when people find out all these superheroes are who they are. But like, as if anyone wouldn't see that. But really, you'd be surprised how much people miss. And sometimes if you hide things just a little bit, like if you know, people can hide a lot of things under different labels. I don't know. I mean, people think people who are religious are good. And you know the truth of that, really. People are good regardless of whether or not they have religion in their lives. People can be good and not believe in anything except their own hand. I mean, most people of spirituality, well, no, even spirituality has been something that's been hijacked, right? But we know that. What we were talking about earlier, I wanted to expand on something we were talking about. My darling. I think we were talking about interracial racism. Well, I shouldn't say interracial, like the races are others, but like, you know, like we're a species, we're just one species. Oh my God. But people of other races hating on other races and not wanting to see, oh look, this is something really, this is, I don't know what's happening here. Let's go see. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little bit confused about the bigotry I was hearing quite blatantly about another country's people.
Yeah.
By a racial grouping that I feel gets a lot of hate on them. But what they're doing currently is asserting their dominance in spaces instead of integrating, you know. And I think that that's now becoming interestingly dangerous. Mm-hmm. I do support, for instance, China's need to assert itself as a world power. I do. Why not? They've been thought of as the world's factory for so long. However, I'm afraid, I'm worried and scared that I'm naive and that I think that because a country of multiculture and ancient culture and of so much brilliance and ancient knowledge, I'm scared that they too will want to colonize instead of integrate and harmonize.
I mean,
I'm worried, and I'm worried that the country of my ancestors' ancestry, you know, what is going on? Everybody wants to everybody wants to get ahead of everybody else. Everybody wants this arms race. Like what, everybody wants to have the most ammunition against each other. Everybody wants others to be in debt to each other. Everybody wants a Batman. Everybody wants somebody to save them, but nobody's willing to be that person. And nobody supports the people who are willing to be it. Especially the people who don't necessarily want to be loud about it. Look, I'm going to do these things and use my skills, etc., to keep saying, and now I'm being very blatant about it. Now it's like, look, now for the first time, I'm using my skills and my raw talent, the talent that I was born with, that I refined and respected over the decades.
Yep.
Now I'm using it to get recognition on a wider scale. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what people call fame, but I really hate that. But at 52, I guess now I would like it because of the things I am saying and the platforms I am creating with your, partnership, my darling, you and I doing these amazing things that showcase and spotlight and highlight and feature people who need to be seen and communities that need to be seen. And we're inclusive. We include everybody. We're people of multiculture, living in the Eurostream constructs. We include everybody because, let's face it, a lot of us like the Eurostream construct because they've taken away They're so eager and quick to get ahead. They're like, to hell with tradition. Let's make our own and steal theirs and cut away all the pomp and ceremony and make our own pomp and ceremony. And it's like, what? Don't dazzle us with our own knowledge. What the hell? I'm like, that's fabulous. Look at that. Good title, darling.
Should ink it later, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, ink it. All right, so my camera work is now getting to be a little bit shoddy, my darling. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I'm used to
sure, it's fine.
No, but I'm busy looking at the actual illustration that I completely forget that I'm supposed to be looking through the screen. But it's what's quite amazing also is that Duane is now shooting through instinct because we work in sync. So we work in sync. It's really quite fantastic.
I love it.
I love it too. I had to look back at this and I was absolutely amazed. Oh, we're talking about Batman.
Yeah.
Batman Day. Sort of like a little bit of Batman and a lot about everything else. But so this is so
Cool.
We were talking about styles, and I do actually want to talk to you about why you're interested in why you got this interest. Now, why I think this is important to talk about, because the one thing we don't often see, and this is what you had said, and what I absolutely love is when people this is what Duane had said, because we were talking about how there are so few people, and we had been talking about our bank, this bank account we want to have of money, so that we have contracts with creatives for our platforms, and we'd like to train them, and pay your bills, go do your art, show your commitment and your consistency of quality, not quantity. If it's going to take you 1 year to get that one thing that you need to do so well, let's take over your bill paying for you. I can't now. Don't come now. We don't have that kind of money. We need people to fund us first. So don't come looking for us now. But I've got you in my sights. I've got a huge list of people from Fiji and Papua New Guinea, people from all over the Pacific, within Sydney and Australia and New Zealand. So yeah. So and not just people of this region, people of all multiculture. But anyway, so we were talking about this, and I want to. And so what Duane said was, well, this is why people of brown and black people go and become, because we had this thing, and I talked openly about it in the second chapter when we didn't get to where we were supposed to go, and that was Independence Day for Papua New Guinea, the celebrations. And we encountered this bigotry that I had started talking about. And it was weird, and it's just, it crushes me, it crushes my soul. It's like I thought we all wanted to change. I thought the world wanted to change. But as I said, people just want to assert their dominance now. And it almost crushed my soul. It did nothing. It crushed my soul. Please. My demon father couldn't. So, yeah. So talking about, I don't remember what we're talking about. I think, right, we're talking about, because I want to ask want to ask Duane some questions about why he pursued this, because we talk about how I feel it's really important for people to see people like us, brown people from small little countries on the map, Fiji, who we get stigmatized and we got treated as if we don't know what we're doing, and that we need the white people to come and show us the way, if indeed we know what civilization is. It's so crazy the way we get treated. It's not just people of Fiji, people of India get treated like they don't know that they've got to be. It's like, what's going on here? It's really quite crazy. Anyway, but we're talking about Batman. Mm-hmm. So this is why we want to have this money, because we want to fund people. I want to fund artists that we know, people that we deeply respect, and not in terms of grants and stuff like that. No, there's no application for this thing. It's, but people, if imagine, as we said earlier in the morning's show, imagine if people all had $1 million for which to go and just have a nice life and do what you want to do. And if you want to work, and if you're an artist and we fund you and we have this bank, wow, we'll pay your bills. Your bills are taken care of. You do the work. And if you want to earn money to get some extra, so what did you say? We'll fund the cost of being alive.
Yeah.
You go earn the cost of living life. We'd love to do that. We'd love to be in the positions. So we are using all our platforms and our creativity to get to a point where perhaps we can start earning that kind of money. I have earned good money throughout my life. And that's why I've been able to do things like, charge highly and then for say 2/3 of my work, so I can do 1/3 free. I've done a lot of free work, as have you done. But, when we've been, and I've been actually quite privileged that I've been able to earn quite well, but I've still not been able to be as highly known as I should in these spaces. And that's a different conversation. So I'm sorry I'm talking about this, because this is about Batman Day. But anyway, this is why I'm saying I'm chasing it now. Not chasing. Ugh, I don't chase anything, least of all fame. Ugh, creators don't do that. Gross. When you've got something inside you that then you don't chase fame. And nowadays in this world, though, it's a different world, so you do have to show that you are prepared to do the work regardless. So that's the consistency of quantity now. You've got to show that you are prepared to commit to doing the work. But really, fame should have been something that comes to people who show the consistency of quality. But this is a different world, as I've said many times now. We need to move with the times. It doesn't matter what happened back in your day. It's in this day that we are all living. So don't be that old person that thinks that way. But also don't be that young person who negates and disregards what older people are saying. We've seen things, okay? We've seen things. The older we are, the more we see and experience. And there's something that happens past 40. And if you're lucky, it hits you mid-30s. When you start going, look, I want to be me. I want to live by some sort of integrity, which is what Bruce Wayne chose. Integrity, a life of integrity. But I wanted to talk about why it's important to see people in these Eurostream constructs in beloved countries like this 235-year-old Australia on this ancient land. This beloved, beautiful ancient land that wasn't ceded, unceded land. But it's important to see people in the arts, because so many people have to go and work in the administration side of things, or go and become doctors and engineers and lawyers, or whatever it is that shows the migrant parent, what gives them the validation. The migrant parents who come to these Eurostream countries and allow their children to flourish in creative arts. Thank you. Wow. That's the biggest flex ever. The migrant parent. But it's not possible, because the brown and black people, certainly not the First Nations, now they're getting some things finally, but they're not the ones getting the jobs. So it would be great if we could all become, I have been lucky enough to have made a very good living as a photographer and a writer and everything else I do. So I've been able to do things for free, but none of us are at that point except the billionaires, and they just keep wanting more money. But none of us are at that point now, and I certainly am not, because I took a year off to actually find out what it is I wanted. I figured that out. I asked myself, what do I want? I asked myself that. And I wanted clarity most of all, and transparency, and absolute joy and love, and truth and fact. So there you go. But now we're finally getting to my point. I think it's really important to see older people in love, brown older people in love, brown from like small countries or marginalized communities, whatever, I don't know. But it's also really important to see creatives who are brown, and who are not just working to then create in their free time. So they're not working, because they get forced to. I would love to, like for instance, our wonderful Ruchi Sanghi of Ruchi Sanghi Dance Company. Ruchi is a beloved client. I am a long-term photographer, her official photographer, and for a while a publicist. And and you and I have done so much work together for Ruchi Sanghi Dance Company. It is Australia's premier Indian classical Kathak dance company. Kathak is the Indian classical dance form of North India, and it's a storytelling dance form. All dance forms. Anyway, we're getting to art forms, and we're getting to what the point of this conversation is. I should be showing. I'll show you the finished product of this, because this is very interesting what's happening here. Anyway, my darling, I need to actually get to my point. So I think it's really important that you see creative. So as I was saying about Ruchi Sanghi, now Ruchi's got a dance company, and her daughters have been brought up dancing. And what I've always loved about photographing, and I have said this before, is that photographing the dance company is that when you open your eyes, you see all these fantastic young people honoring their ancestry by, learning a dance form that is a form of history, a legacy carrying on. And they're all dressed in their costumes, etc. Their parents have the accents of their country of origin. But if you close your eyes, you're just hearing Aussie kids and slagging each other off, giving each other, heaps of mate, and they're just, you close your eyes and you're listening to Australian children having fun, talking to each other, talking about things, and then you open your eyes and they're dressed in full costume. It's so great. I love it. I love that multiculturalism. So it's really important. But it's also very important for you to see brown creators who earn an income and a living from it, because Duane, one thing I've always admired about Duane chose the harder path of being a freelancer in Fiji to pursue what he was trained for, and he's a graphic artist. He would have liked to be a fine arts artist, but as all brown black people, and as we know, no, artists of any race really don't really earn a lot of money. It's quite sad. Everyone turns to artists for everything. So this is where I finally get to my point, my love. How did you stick to it? I want to know. So how did you know that this is what you wanted to do? Like, I'll just show you quickly this is what Duane was drawing. This looks like a Daredevil Batman. Like a very, this is a scary Batman. Like, look, your style of Batman I like my ninja Batman like this dude here. All right. This one's like, oh my gosh. Like, well, we'll talk about in the movies because of who you prefer over that. So now let's go back to what we were saying. Right. So I was actually talking about this, my darling, and that, how did you know this is what you wanted to do? Because so many, particularly from Fiji, so many people say, well, it's just a hobby. It's not ever going to be a career. I mean, we already know the hierarchy in Fiji. We already know that the privileged people are the ones who get these opportunities. Yeah. And that is a fact of life all over the world. The more privileged you are, the more opportunities you get. I'm not saying it's easier. I'm saying it's, you have more choices. Okay. You still have to prove yourself at every point. All of us have laughed at the nepotism. All of us have laughed at the kid who is just daddy's boy kind of thing, who gets promoted to being, head of department. Very quickly, we find out what a dick. That's why they had to be, we know. Privilege may get you places and opportunities, but merit keeps you there. But also privilege is still a very, very hard place for people to get. So that's another question. So now we're finally going to get to what I'm talking about here. How did you know you wanted to do this, sweetheart?
Well, I didn't even know what graphic design was when I chose it. Because I did animation first.
But let's go further back. Let's go further back into your teens. When did you know you could draw? When did you realize that this was something that you could do? Like, can you just quickly take me through this book again? Flip the pages, my darling.
Oh, right. So what I've drawn so far.
Yes, and okay, like these, like your version of Batman is always so.
Oh, these are just sketches.
I know. I love your sketches, darling. It is fantastic and fascinating to sit here do this. Like I can't believe you.
That was when I was drawing Phantom.
Right, cool. Oh, if you haven't seen our Phantom video, please do, because I do have a lot of knowledge about Phantom. I love Phantom. Like, there's nothing, maybe nothing else we should.
Oh, hey, sorry, I'm just going back.
All
to
right,
that
well,
Batman.
Just in case, my darling. That one, right? Sorry, because I don't know what. Like, what if you've drawn, like me naked or something?
Oh no, not this book.
So it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want. But look, I love that. I like Ninja Bat. I like Gothic Bat in some ways. You like Brawler Bat.
Well, yeah, because I like the story. It's The Dark Knight Returns.
Sure. But anyway, we'll talk about that. I know. Well, sorry, we'll get to that soon. But I want to talk about you. So you knew about. So apologies if I ask Duane the question and Duane answers, and then I actually end up answering the question and talking about him. Duane's not good at talking about himself. In case you're wondering, well, let him speak. I want to hear it because he's got a beautiful voice, and you want to hear him say. It's just look. He's not good at talking about himself. And a lot of people aren't good at talking about themselves, but that's why I enter the picture. That's why I went into public relations, because I am really, really good at talking about people. I really am really good. And also, I am the world's best publicist for myself, of course, because I was able to convince people I was privileged and carefree and trauma-free and just absolutely, la, 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 which I was, and I am. Not denying that. Gosh. Anyway, so let's go back to the whole point of this. And then when did you understand that this could actually be a choice for a career? When does that thing hit,
So it's when, at the end of high school, when you're trying to choose what course to do.
Yes, but who told you that you were good enough to be able to consider that a choice and that this wasn't a hobby? That's what I want to know. See, this is why I'm better. So when he went to Papua New Guinea, okay. Sorry, I just keep brushing against the microphone. I'm very sorry about that. When Duane went to Papua New Guinea, I don't know why I keep going there. It's like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to go there because the microphone.
Still getting used to it.
I keep forgetting that. When Duane went to Papua New Guinea, he actually just everything changed. His because art is taken very seriously in Papua New Guinea, and it's because this is the way the incredible diversity, cultural diversity of Papua New Guinea, where they use their art as a language and as a way of communication, of being able to show all the other tribes, or within their own land. I guess they consider these countries. This is why on First Nations, on this country, they're from country.
Yeah.
In this country, they're from country, and they will be very respectful of each other's country, and they don't because they don't think of it as. They do all think they belong to one land mass, but anyway, by country they mean tribe and community. So, Papua New Guinea, yes, their art is incredible. Their art is hidden from the world, and you know what really actually annoys me? The most famous people, the most famous artist from Papua New Guinea is a Eurostream white woman. And who then went to Fiji. Mm-hmm. And look, her art is great, but she's a very popular, trendy, cool person who's, a Papua New Guinean, what we call Kailoma. And unfortunately, they're actually a very different, they're worse in some ways. They very much think they're the superior person in Papua New Guinea. Very much. I've met a few. And it's like, whoa, I don't like you. They think they're superior than the Papua New Guineans. They consider themselves Papua New Guinean, but they they think they're better. It's like in Fiji. Like, excuse me? The way people talk about the indigenous, I'm ashamed. That's why I keep my distance from the very society that I am considered a part of and that you are also reluctantly a part of. The way they talk about the indigenous, the Kaiviti, I am like, oh my gosh. Shocked.
Yeah, I've heard some of it, you know.
It's not just, and the people, of course, talk about Indo-Fijians quite badly. But anyway, so let's get back to what we're saying, blah, blah, blah. I do tend to digress. As I've told you, this may as well be called the Digress Show with Sandhya and Duane. Except Duane doesn't digress. Sandhya, on the other hand, but I'm here, really. So this is why I think it's important. And so I want to know, when Duane went to Papua New Guinea, oh my gosh, the battery is about to cry. They're about to also lose our microphones, darling.
Okay, so that is that the universe again?
That may be the universe saying we need to hurry this up, and we'll be talking about movies, etc., so we can continue talking about this. But you also don't want to talk about yourself, so I'm going to use the last percentages of this battery thing. So we're going to move on to movies soon. So you saw just Duane sketching and stuff, but I really his art awareness really expanded in Papua New Guinea at the school he was in. And from there is when you really understood this about yourself, that this is something you could pursue as you study for, that you train for, and that you can actually pursue a career in this after going to a university or a tech college to go and study it. Is that okay? And then you've told me this because, look, I'm sorry, I have to talk to my husband. He gets bored talking about himself. He gets bored when I talk about him. And he's my favorite person to talk with, and talk about. And he gets bored with that topic. Anyway. So this is where you thought, I guess, that you could have, because you were encouraged, because your art teacher said you were just, you know.
To study visual arts, right?
Yes. Fine arts.
Yeah, fine arts. Visual arts and fine arts. In fine art. But
can you explain what fine art is, darling?
It's the
wanky art, the art that hangs in art galleries, and you have your painter on, you know, with the palette and just a paint splashed studio, and you know, it's just, look, actually, people like that exist. Black Douglas we have a lot of Black Douglas's artwork. I do know Black Douglas personally, and you've met him. I have a lot of his artwork, and his studio is so fantastic.
Yeah, no,
he's got all those. You've had these rags. You had a pair of jeans. Artists, paint art. You know, painters. They all have these paint splatters everywhere. Oh my gosh! And you know, and in Black Douglas's studio, there were rags on the ground. I'm like, I really want that rag.
Paint splattered stools.
But you haven't had the time to indulge that side of your artistry as much. So,
that's because I didn't study it. So I would have been in a different, industry.
As Duane said before, I hijacked that's what fine arts is, the stuff that hangs in art galleries. And you were discouraged from doing that for sensible, practical reasons.
For very good reasons.
In very loving ways.
Yes.
So the fabulous thing is, and this is why I say people of multiculture, people of what they call color, people of the global majority, when they are in the colonizer templates, in the Eurostream constructs, etc. And this is what I call these supposed, because first world classification is an archaic bullshit term that I'm not going to use. All right. So I will explain that later. So, when people of culture, multiculture, then break things, then use what they have been able to do with their lives and let their children pursue their passions. That's so amazing, you know, and take the risk of, but again, you know, the compromise has to be made. So they said I'm sorry that I'm taking over this story.
Oh, okay.
May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've heard it many times, because I ask because I'm so amazed by it. I love it. My mother did this with me. My father wanted me to study law and all sorts of things, and I was good at that. I actually wanted to study sciences. But anyway, my mother wanted me to pursue my artistry. Anyway, so Duane's parents then said to him, look, why don't you pursue something that's with your art?
Yeah.
You know, that lets you use your talent, you can earn some money from.
Yeah.
You can actually earn a living from. And then you chose.
Graphic design. Yeah. Oh, well, I chose visual arts and animation.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, and then I chose graphic design after that. So I did 2 courses, printing and graphic arts.
So that's what the visual arts. Now that to some would be considered, well, that's pretty wankery. No one really gets to choose, to study visual arts and animation. That's pretty amazing. The fact that you can draw an animation movie by yourself, and that's why it's not done, because look, even I, with my love, with my love of comics, I completely forget what it takes to put together. Like if you see a 15-second clip, how long would that have taken to put together, darling?
Well, 1 second is, I do it in 12 drawings. 12 drawings for 1 second of animation.
Wow. 12 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means. Somebody has drawn that.
And so you're shooting right now 29 frames, 29.97
moving picture.
That was cool.
So that's what movies are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I find that absolutely amazing that you chose that to study. So what is the visual arts side? What is that?
We did anatomy, right? So we did live drawing classes, drawing classes, perspective, drawing classes.
And I love that. And you were all given mirrors, and you were encouraged to use your bodies, and you'll get little character things. Duane's got all these little figurines on his desk, and but in all different places. Every time I look up, and they're up the wall, and that he puts in superhero poses. And I love photographing Duane, because he really, really does the superhero pose really, really well. So were you into comics back then?
Not when I started. I wasn't even into movies.
Oh my gosh, that is like sacrilege for me. I've been into movies since I was a child.
So I was a late starter. That's when I started learning about comic books.
Right.
Movies even. We used to watch movies, so you just learn, but because we did special effects.
Also, I'll just explain one thing. Duane went from living in Fiji to living in Port Moresby, which is incredibly artistic and wonderful. He had the best time, bloomed there, flourished there. But at that stage, back in the 2000s or mid-90s, they didn't really have television and movies there, so you didn't get to watch a lot of movies growing up. Whereas back in Suva, we had all the cinemas and movies and all the things.
I can't remember how old we were when we got our first TV.
Right.
But even when we got the TV, I hardly watched it.
Yeah.
There's a few things we watched, but we used to watch cartoons.
Right, because you do know a lot of cartoons.
Yeah. So I know a lot of 80s cartoons.
Right. Yes, you do. Your knowledge of 80s cartoons is quite incredible.
But there's a lot I don't know as well. This 80s is just so many different.
Yeah, right. I mean, cartoons, 80s stuff. I was a teen in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so, but I can't believe, but you were a child in your 80s and you absorbed so much.
Yeah.
And of course, your parents were cool kids of the 60s, 70s. They were young adults in the 80s. So they were listening to all the cool music, listening to the top, But so that I really love that your parents gave that. That they said, no, this is just a hobby. Keep it as a hobby. Just do it at home or whatever. Go become a banker, or something like that. But they let you pursue your own dreams, but in a practical way. Like, come on, just do this. We didn't get to this point in their lives. So this is the compromise. Unfortunately, mostly people of multiculture have to make, which is really annoying. So this is why I think it's really important for people, young people, especially people who are not living in the countries of that, like Australia, etc. Especially if you're living in Fiji and Papua New Guinea, but also if you are living in these countries, Australia, New Zealand, etc. You can. You just need to show commitment to it. And this is what I love about you. You have always chosen to show commitment to it. So now you studied all of this and then you got into animation, right? Now, along with it, so not got into it, that's what was part of it. And that must have been fascinating to see. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these books and stuff. So I did know people like that, and Duane could. So they take a book and draw with a slight variation on each page of like 100 pages. Excuse me for clearing my throat. And then you flick through it and it becomes a cartoon, So that's fantastic. And learning to do all of that and learning through the perspectives. By perspectives, he means, that's flat.
Yeah.
But somehow you've got to make something flat look like it has depth. And so that things aren't just looking like stunted things. Like, look how, if lose perspective for a while, and look how my hand looks like it's coming out of my shoulder. So that's what it is. You've got to understand. So what animators and comic, graphic novel artists especially, but all artists who do all of this have to understand is perspective. And as a photographer, I understand perspective. Like, you don't photograph like that. You also don't photograph with your arms straight out. You've got to break everything to create length and perspective. And so comic book animators,
like, for example, drawing this, that perspective. So to see the foreshortening of the arm,
right,
and the size of the hand in comparison to the head.
Yeah.
So that's kind of so anatomy, perspective, buildings, how to use the page.
Yeah.
Just how to draw, really.
Yeah.
So that was the visual art side of it. Animation was animation techniques.
Yeah.
We watched a lot of films, a lot of cartoons, different styles. It was quite cool.
I just need you to break, anchor me, darling. There we are now. We're talking about your styles, etc. Because I do believe I see. I don't usually, as I keep saying to you, but then somehow or the other, I do manage to see what's happening. I don't usually keep a track of who's joined us and what comments are written. So please forgive me if I don't respond to comments. It's just that we download these and then they're on our feeds. And after the live, you can't see comments and you can't see who's here. But I can see that Nerdwala has joined us, Clarence Das, who is Fiji's first published graphic novelist. And we were talking about commitment to quality and commitment to pursue your passions and not giving up on yourself. And regardless of what anybody else is expecting of you from the outside and etc., you have to be in the present moment and pursue your passions now. And it does take a lot if you are someone from a multiculture or from little countries like Fiji, etc. And so you have to be your own support system in so many ways. And this is why you must understand what has he said here? Sorry, I hope he's not embarrassed that we're talking about him. But we think Clarence is one of Fiji's best artists. I mean, that is such an accomplishment he has done, and what we have and we've shown you, to us it's art. Because we consider comic book, it's artwork. We say that we liken it to modern day hieroglyphics, but it's more than that. It is an evolution, but it is still the way people understand something. And we were talking about perspectives, and so this is what animation was able to, the
entire course.
Yeah.
It just changed my perspective.
But let me just finish about Clarence before I go back to this. I just need to anchor.
Yes.
So, what is the name of it? Can you just bring it, darling? So Salanialo. And look, the cover we're showing you is we're special, okay? So don't be jealous. This is a very, very special color and a cover, and we have this in a sleeve because we protect our artwork. And I'm sorry. So actually, could you hold it, darling, so that you don't have to see the reverse of this? Excuse me. So look at it. That's wonderful artwork by Clarence Das. On Instagram, he is Nerdwala. And Courtney Underwood Das is also an artist, and they are married. What a wonderful, I really love teams like that. But look at all this. It's just fantastic. Look, and look at that. It's not just it's a journey through the Itoke afterlife, the indigenous people of Fiji, the Kaiviti. And it's just such a beautifully told story. And if you are in Fiji, please get your hands on it. I believe it's at the University Library. Clarence, if you could just tell me where it's available so I can tell everybody. But it's beautiful. And we don't want to open it. You've got to go find it yourself. We've opened it. We've seen it. We don't really want to touch it too much. This is art to us. So we're also waiting for Clarence and Courtney to visit us one day, or we'll visit them, and we need to get it signed because we were too busy talking when we got it, when we received this gorgeous present. and we didn't get it signed by Clarence. So anyway, we will get it signed one day. So thank you. So that's what we're saying. So that's so please go find Clarence and follow his account and support him, and etc. etc. And as we were saying, like Clarence, I think we did mention him. Clarence and Courtney are two of the. So Clarence has said, so it's at the USP bookstore and the Museum bookstore, two very good bookstores actually. I love these two bookstores. I would spend a lot of time at the Museum gift shop and bookstore. It's full of really good things. So Clarence's historic book is there. It won't be with that cover, but you'll still find it because ours is a special cover.
Represent.
Well, I hope I'm telling the truth. Well, anyway, so yes, so please do go have a look at that. And as we were saying, Clarence, we were talking about this bank account that we would love to have, so that to just give creatives like Clarence and Courtney and ourselves, of course, just, here are all your bills paid. Just create to give people pleasure. And if they want to pay you for your art, great. But here we go. But then they contribute to everything that all our platforms. So basically, anyway, we'll talk about these things another time. We are actually talking about the animation and all that you did. So what is it that you really, what did you understand you wanted to do? So now, why did you go into graphic design?
Oh,
that's not a question.
No, yeah, points.
Sure.
For my visa.
Right. Okay. So students, so the compromise that everybody has to make and stuff. So
I mean, that's the truth.
I guess he had to. He was a student at
and
that time.
By accident, I learned graphic design.
So there you go. Because I have to tell you one thing. About artists who unfortunately have to do graphic design to supplement to actually pay the cost of their life on this planet so that they can then pursue their passions and what they want to do. So artists then go and study graphic design so that but then they think that they don't actually think that they're doing their art. They consider that the practical side of things, that's their money earner. That's not their art, but they all are exceptional at it. They become exceptional at it because they use their artistry and then they've got their skills to create all these most amazing things. So artists who are graphic designers are pretty amazing, except that they look down at their graphic design. So facts are facts. I'm sorry. He does. He doesn't want to, but I caught it. I'm like, what was that, darling? What was that? But also you don't like me calling you artist or animator or whatever. We're similar in a certain way that unless you master something, we don't want to call ourselves that. Or
that's right. Yeah.
But I think that I can call you that. You are an artist. You are exceptional. And I love that you pursued it, and you then developed this absolute skill at graphic design that was able to be an income earner for you. Yeah. Of course, you did the cool young hot thing of being a cool young hot thing, working at the cool hot place in Suva when you went back to Fiji, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, that was, but then you were really, so yeah, Clarence says he prefers being a cartoonist, less pressure. Well, that's a fact, because a graphic designer is actually a slave to somebody else's vision. And so the now amount of work a graphic designer has to do and still cut their rate, whilst developing skills on software. So all the skills they have to take from pen, and it was worse then, but it's still worse now because they've still got to work with a lot of software that is dependent now on Wi-Fi and all sorts of things. It's crazy. And yet graphic designers have had to cut their rates because for a while there, graphic design just became something to apply for on Airtasker. You were getting people in India just earning 30 cents a day, doing things for $20 kind of thing, making somebody else money, and terrible. So I don't know what people have to do. It's crazy. It's crazy what people have to do. But, but you were able to do that. And then because you made some very wise choices for yourself personally, you didn't then follow the normal path of, well, you've got to be married by a certain age. You've got to have kids and stuff like that. So you did work for, and we won't name names, but they are personally the media agency that really hasn't grown at all and has kept Fiji's visual zeitgeist very much in the old. And having said that, there's been a lot of ads. Actually, interestingly enough, Clarence has posted some ads, old school ads on Facebook, and I loved them. The old courts ads and things like that, when they were full of personality. Things used to be full of personality, and you may look back and go, oh, cringe, but don't look at it from 2023 eyes. When you look back at something that happened in the 90s, that was created in the 90s, what you've got to look at is what was able to be done in the 90s. Anyway,
with what we had,
with what people had, you know. And these ads are fantastic, full of personality. But I don't know. I think that the ads now, in some ways, are so behind the times. When I know what we were doing in the 90s, which was so progressive, and when I know what people are capable of doing, the people in Fiji, you know, what people can do in Fiji. Oh, but I think that because the visual media is still very much controlled by expatriates. Go figure. Well, this is where Bruce Wayne comes into it. Anyway, when did you get into comics?
Well, when I was younger, when I used to get a lot of coloring books.
Right.
But when I was younger, I didn't really have access to comic books.
Right.
But I did buy my first comic book in Fiji.
Right.
For like 70 cents.
At the Turak one or the downtown store?
No, it was at a service station.
Right.
It was mobile at the time.
Yes,
on the
they used to
corner
have.
of Mead Road and Princess Road.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I went in to buy something, like a drink or something, and there was a comic book in the magazine, right? I was like, whoa, cool.
Oh, what was it?
Kazaa.
Kazaa.
You know, he's like a jungle guy.
Oh my God. Oh, look, my battery's about to go. So I'm really sorry that we have to end this, because I've got to do something about the battery, and the next time we come back, unfortunately we won't be on mics, which is good, because we do need to. We'll be showing you clips from our favorite Batman, or our favorite clips from Batman. And I'm sorry, but Duane and I will continue this conversation, because I know I haven't fully explored all of it. So maybe we'll finish that side of it tomorrow, darling, and you could continue sketching. But please do watch this one from the start. And we will be back shortly. And we'd like you to join us for our Batman Day movie night. We've got Duane's fried chicken, which he prepped this morning. And I hope you have take the time to watch our Daily Egg, which was our breakfast show, and then everything in between. And this one we'll continue talking about Duane. Duane's happy that we've finished talking, because he never wants to talk about himself, but I want to continue talking about all this, because I think it's really important. And one day soon, hopefully when we're face to face, we'll also have a conversation with Clarence and Courtney, and we can hear from them about their sort of paths and journeys into what their artistic commitment. But right now, we got to go. We got to charge this. We got to get ready. We got to get some food. We got to line up the clips. I'm not sure if we're ready for that at all, because this is live. It's unedited. It's unscripted. It's unscheduled. You know, it's kind of got some structure. Okay, we're not unhinged. So we're gonna go line all that up. So join us. You'll see us when we're there. I don't know. I can't promise you when. If maybe half an hour, 1 hour, whenever. But we're there. We're there. Join us, please. Otherwise, watch this whenever you want. And of course, we will be downloading and uploading to YouTube. So please do, if you haven't already, please do go and subscribe. Or don't go, but please, if you could. I'm not begging, but I'm saying, come on. Let's show some support with each other. If you could please go and subscribe. If you could please subscribe to our YouTube channel, so we could get to at least 50, so we can do our lives there. So it's in one spot, and we can just share the links for you to go and watch and stream. Because this is a show, and it's the lives of our days. Thank you very much for being here with us. We'll see you very shortly, very soon. We'll be back. Join us for movie night. Bye.